screen share button and then just click on whatever screen or program you're using to show off the images.
Oh, it's not showing it.
Are you
Okay.
looking for the screen share?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you go all the way over, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so have you been loitering and watching some of the others?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you kind of got an idea for how it goes now?
Yeah. You do a bit of
Okay.
a quick photo, short one, and then go into future plans.
Yep, pretty much. So you're going to tell me about the images first and what you think about them, and then I'm going to grade you and probably tell you everything you think is wrong. Go
What do I
ahead.
think about that? Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty simple shoot that I organized. I just had to go and shoot something that I hadn't done before. So I organized a model through a small little agency who hadn't done much modeling, so her posing wasn't too strong. And no, I'm not very good at posing people, so it was good practice. In terms of what I think of the photo, I think it's one of the strongest ones that came out of that shoot. I had a couple of others that I liked maybe more, but with the other guys, they seemed to think that something more of a poses weren't as strong as the other ones. So I went with this one.
Okay. So I actually really love the styling. I think the shirt really makes this shot, and it makes it kind of like high fashion, hipster. I don't care. I like it. So she's got
But it
really gorgeous.
had nothing to do with that.
Doesn't matter, still rocking it. Because it's interesting and it's unique and it's you would expect to see her in just a bikini. So I always like those elements of like a dichotomy between what you expect and what you don't expect or opposites. Like you wouldn't expect people to be wearing sweaters at the beach. So I dig it. I think it makes it visually interesting. She's got great legs. You did a beautiful job. One of the biggest problems I see with people when they're posing legs is they keep them together. So having that little triangle from her knee to the thigh of the other leg is really, really essential. That's one of the things that I teach. Um, and the fact that the sweater comes up off of her hip and around her abs enough to show the line of the back create
Okay.
allows the viewer to see her slenderness. So if that had to actually come all the way down to the sand, it would have made her look wide, which
Yeah.
is something else they learned. So that's really well done. Um, I think it's a really good shot. Her hand, and here's the thing, like you don't cut off hands and feet. Her
Yeah.
hands cut off involuntarily with the sand. So if I had been
No.
shooting it, I would have had her just pick that hand up and just kind of rested on the sand without actually leaning onto it. Or it would have just been a matter of probably every 2 to 3 shots she'd be picking it up and putting it back on top because it would keep sinking. Um, I'm not sure. I like the wet, beachy hair, but I'm not sure if I think the hair in her face is distracting or not.
Okay.
I can't make up my mind about it. And for being a professional model, if you went through an agency, she should be giving a little more face. She looks like a typical girl at a beach going, "Ah, take my picture." Take it from far away because I can't get a selfie with my whole body. Like that's all I hear in her face.
Yeah. It
Um,
was a very small agency, and I think she'd been modeling for a couple of months only. So
mm.
she's a newbie.
Well, yeah, but I'm gonna give you some tough love and tell you it doesn't matter because it's your
Yeah.
fault. Because
Okay.
I don't work with models at all, so it's still on you to invoke an emotional reaction from them one way or the other. Um, but like you said, if posing isn't your strong point and working with model, usually if posing isn't your strong point, then getting them to give good face isn't a strong point either, and that's just something that you have to work on. But
Yeah.
overall,
No.
I think that it's a good photo, so I'm going to give it a 2. I think it's commendable. I like the depth of field. I like the styling. I like the pose. It's well lit, but it could have used a little bit more, I think.
Okay.
So, well
Cool.
done. Next one.
I threw in a landscape.
Okay, tell me about it.
This is a little house on the river. Which river was it? I can't remember the river name, in Thailand, just outside of Bangkok. I was there on a video shoot and just woke up early one morning and went and shot some photos. I just loved the house. That was, for me, the thing that kind of stuck out.
Okay. Are you in the water right now taking this?
No, it's I'm on a pier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is interesting because of the location, but not necessarily because of the photography. I see this a lot with portraiture too. It's the girl that's interesting, not the photography skills. I love I do like the way that you compose the photograph, but I'm not sure on the retouching and the editing, because honestly, with the warmth of the wood and the coloring, it looks kind of like an Instagram filter. Oh my God, like brush that right off your ego, because that was it. That was, I think that's like a really low blow now to say that. But you know, like it's a pretty shot, but it's just a pretty shot. It doesn't necessarily look like a shot that somebody that doesn't call themselves a photographer couldn't get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You can argue with me, and you can state your case.
No, I mean, it's composition and landscapes is something that I'm really battling with, actually. Like, it's one of my weak points for that kind of photography.
I think the composition of it is actually good. I don't know that it's interesting enough to really hold attention. Like for me, scrolling through and seeing some of your other work, this one I would pass right by. So I'm gonna. That's not a hit on this photo as much as it is that I like a lot of your other stuff that I've seen. So I don't know that this one is keeping up to par with it, because some of your other work is really good. So I'm gonna give this one a 1. I think it shows promise, but I think it missed the mark a little bit.
Okay. Now you say the
next one.
No, I was going to ask, like,
Yeah.
in terms of improving it, what could I have done? Like, what really stands out for you as being not? You say it's photography skills.
I don't know that it's that something is standing out to me as bad as much as it is that nothing is standing out to me as exceptional.
Okay.
You know, it's not that it's a bad photograph, it's that I feel semi-indifferent towards it. There's nothing that's provoking any kind of emotional reaction. Like when you look at like Trey Ratcliffe's photos, every time he posts something, I'm like, oh, I want to go there. Oh, I want to go there. Like I'm pretty sure my entire list of bucket photos on Pinterest is pretty much his photos now of places I want to go before I die. So I think, you know, and I'm not a landscape photographer, so, you know, one of the things that I want to do is I want to start bringing in some of the other masters for areas that aren't necessarily my genre or niche. But what I'm always looking for in a photograph, regardless of what genre it is to see the artist in it, and I don't see you in this one.
Okay. Okay.
That's harsh, but brush it off, because I'm going to love the rest of them.
Okay. Well, here's the next one.
See, I was right. Okay, tell me about this one.
This is back in South Africa, so we lived in a small little town down near the coast, and there was a collection of snow up in the mountains the next day. So I just called the little agency again and said, hey, are there any models that you can send that are keen to go shoot in the snow? So I lumped 3 of them in a car, and we drove up and took some photos in the snow.
Great. I dig it. The highlights are a little bit high on the snow. That's really, really tough when you're exposing for that, because really getting him in, you probably would have lost it, and it would have been too dark on his skin, especially around like his neck, and any of the areas that are shadowed. But I like this shot as a whole. It looks like It looks like some kind of Coca-Cola ad for me. Like, oh, if you drink this, you'll instantly be fun. Like, it's one of those kind of campaigns. You know, the abs are really good. I love that you have that dichotomy going where he's got like the winter hat on, but then he's got the shades and he's got no shirt and he looks like he should be at the beach. The expression, the energy is great. His body language is fantastic. It's very flattering to him for the figure and shows off all the muscle structure. I probably would have gone in and actually cloned out his foot just because it's completely severed by the snow. So you have this complete break because his knees are so deep in it. And then you just have this little bit hanging out here that isn't really attached to him. It's like amputated. So I'd be interested to see if it looks stronger without that. And then he would just be deep in the snow and your eyes would just assume that, you know, that he's pretty much buried in it. But overall, I think it's a really good shot. I like that the clouds match the snow. So it's just this very free-flowing thing where the foreground becomes the background very seamlessly. I'm gonna give it.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm thinking. It's like halfway in between commendable and exceptional. I'm gonna give it exceptional for you just because I think it's exceptional for the quality of work that I'm seeing from you now. But I'm having a hard time with judging you guys because I haven't been in long enough to really observe you.
Yeah.
So this is like on the cusp for me because I still think that you have more talent than this is exuding, but I also really love this photograph. So you're going to get an exceptional this time, but level 9, if you show it again, it'll get commendable. You have to step up. So, okay, next one. Okay, tell me about this one.
That's again for that same little agency, new models that needed stuff to add to their portfolio. They had a guy that was supplying some active wear, so I thought, oh, let's go shoot in a gym. Phoned up a gym, asked if we could go shoot in there, and yeah, the original plan wasn't to do black and white. I ended up shooting with a green gel in my flash and then color balancing so the background actually went pink.
Mm-hmm.
But then I tried to do some black and white processing and this came out.
Okay. So you were shooting this for a clothing line or you were just kind of playing?
No, it was for the model's portfolio. They just
okay.
Clothing line that sponsored some clothes.
Okay. So I really like this one. Again, I think her face came just shy of really bringing it. Like, I want, with the background and what the shot is, I want this really fierce, like, train like a girl attitude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just I am woman, hear me roar kind of thing. And she almost has it in her expression, but I think there's just a little bit of lack of life in the eyes to really, really sell it. But I love the body language. I'd actually consider cropping it in on the left so that you take out her hand.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's a little bit distracting, and I think that, and you can see, like, if you just put your hand over that part of it and kind of get a feel for it, then it becomes completely about her and leads away. Her hand is really weighing down the upper part of the photo for me. Especially because the other one isn't matching it in the depth of field fall off. So
okay, no, I can see that.
Why. But yeah, I think it's because of the hand, and then you have the other half of the machine in front, so it's just so much weight on the left-hand side, and it doesn't feel as much on the right because it's further away, so it's not quite so cumbersome. But I love the light on her. She has beautiful catch lights in her eyes, which is like always a seller for me. Overall, I think it's a really, really good shot, so I'm going to give you an exceptional on this one too.
Cool, thank you. On to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
That's same shoot, different model.
Okay, so tell me about this one. What do you think? What would you give
Um,
you on this shot?
what would I give myself?
Yeah.
Ah, man. I'd probably give it a 2 because there's one thing that I don't like about it. I'm
What's
not going to
that?
tell you what it is until you tell me.
Well played. Extra bonus points for you. Very good. Okay. So, okay, well, what do you like about this shot? Let's talk about that.
um, I quite enjoy his. I like the look that he's giving and the lighting as well. It's the first time I've ever actually done. I wasn't intentionally trying to cut half his face off. Well, shoot, like that, but it
Mhm.
just kind of happened, and I quite like the way it came out.
Okay. So I really like this shot too. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more light on his right arm because you really lose like from the fingers around where you can really see it with the left one. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more of it on the right hand side too, because it just kind of fades off into nothing between his arm and the ball, all the shadow all together.
Yeah.
I also, when you're doing split lighting, it's so tough, and we were talking about this in one of the other critiques too. You have to commit either way. Either it's going to be split lighting and you're not going to be able to see anything, or you're going to make it sort of half split lighting where it's darker on one side of the face, but you can still see the structure of the face. So right now, the catch lights were the only things that caught bright enough to show
Yeah,
his eye. So he's got these two lights that are just they almost look like specks of dust or things that shouldn't be there, and they're really distracting because you can't place them with the rest of the eye. So I would have gone in and cloned those out. And
yeah.
then again, I see it just a little bit. There's like this very little faint patch of skin right above his lip from the muscle structure that just caught
Mm,
a little bit of light. So I would have gone in and just darkened that out and cloned it to
yeah,
get rid of it. So it was absolutely about the shadow. Um,
yeah.
I
Those cats in
do.
my eye were the thing that I was not liking.
Okay, yeah. So go in and take that out. It's such a simple fix. Like, do that. Um, and especially, like, that's a really good point. Like, it's really interesting to pull things out and then have the artist go, "Yeah, I thought that too. Then why didn't you fix it?"
I don't know.
um,
It's kind of like one of those. Am I just being pedantic?
no, if it's bugging you, it's gonna bug somebody else. Fix it. Fix
Okay.
it. Don't be lazy. But that said, I think it's a really, really awesome shot. I really like it. I think it would make a really badass senior photo. I think it would make a really cool ad campaign for athletic wear or sports. I think an athlete would be happy with it. It's just a really cool masculine kind of photo. I love the energy that he's giving. He looks he looks fierce but not unapproachable, which is
Hmm.
always the trade-off with men I find. Like if you have them like girls, you tell them to look fierce and it's like an energy level, but when you do it with men, because masculinity can be really intimidating,
Yeah.
if you have them do that, sometimes they just look mean. um, so you did a good balance of going, yes, I'm fierce, yes, I'm a baller, yes, I could just take this and squish it with my hands, but I'm just gonna kill you on the court instead. um, so I really like the energy and the story that it's telling. I love the texture of the brick behind him. I think you did a really good job of putting him in a masculine um, surrounding too that just adds to the element of the story. I love the texture of the brick and the skin and the freckles and the ball. Like overall, I think it's really good. So I'm gonna give you an exceptional on this. So you lost it on the one, but you definitely gained it back on the back three. So still well done.
Cool. Thank you.
Good stuff. Okay, so you'll go up and you'll click this screen share again so I can see your handsome face. Your
There we
handsome
go.
face, not mine. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit because I'm still kind of getting to know you, and tell me a little bit about where you're at and what you're trying to do and why the Arcanum and
Oh. Um, I've been trying to get a photography thing going for about the last 3 years. I just
Okay.
haven't been able to get it together.
What kind of photography thing?
Uh, Anything, I don't know yet.
Well, that's why it's not going.
I started doing a couple of weddings, and I shot, I think, 3 weddings. People seem to like the results, but I hate weddings, so I actually just completely took that off my thing. And then
That's
the
good.
fashion thing it started off as an experiment, just to try and get used to playing with lights, really. I was taking photos of objects, and I was bored of that, so I thought, oh, people seems to be the next step, so
What do you
started
really
doing.
love to shoot? Hmm.
Not so much the things that I love to shoot, it's more the experience of the entire thing.
Okay. What
And
have you shot that the experience has been the most fulfilling?
that snow shoot that was really cool. That was just because it was fun and we got out and it was like off-roading through the snow. So I'm
Okay.
more about the adventure and the experience than the actual photos that come out.
That's good. That's good. This is good for you to know. Like for me, it's a connection with people. I love having a person in front of my lens, specifically women, and I like watching that develop to confidence and a feeling of beauty. And we were, I get the same thing from mentoring. Like it's the same thing. Like, did you get to watch any of Allie's at all that we just did?
I saw maybe the last 3 minutes.
So she bawled her eyes out like a little kitten. It was the cutest thing ever. But the reason that that happened was because I struck a nerve with her being able to see her own value, which is exactly what I do visually when I photograph women, because it's usually people like her that are spending so much time and energy taking care of kids and worrying about their job and stuff like that that they forget to take care of themselves. So when they come in and they get to play dress up and they get to be pampered and have their hair and makeup done, you know, I get to see a different side of them that they forget is there, and I get to remind them that that person exists. And it's the same with teaching. So that's my thing. That's why I do both, and that's why I spend more time in a cohort in a day than some of the other masters spend in a couple of weeks, because I just thrive off of that, and that personal connection is so important. And a lot of the other masters in the Arcanum, they work really well with boundaries, and they're really leveling people up on technical, and you can tell like the gearheads really push on the technical side, and they're really pushing that in their critique, so you can see what people are on fire for. And
Yeah.
if you go back and you watch this little section of the critique, we went from hate to indifference to excitement with you in the course of about a minute and a half. You were like, oh, but I hate weddings, and then you're like, I don't know, I mean, I kind of like shooting, I just like the experience of shooting. But that shot in the snow was cool, and we were off-roading, and like your whole voice and demeanor changed, like body language, everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for. So how do we build that business around you being able to have those experiences? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to go shoot people in the snow 24 hours? 7 days a week, or like is it like a snow one day and a cliff another, and surfing in like shark infested waters the third day? Like how crazy are you?
Throw it at me and I'll try it at least once.
Okay.
I don't know, an idea that I've been toying with for a long time is actually kind of taking the fashion photography and the landscape photography that I enjoy doing, because I can get out there, and merging the two. So you can have the fashion photography and the adventures and do it all at once.
Okay. And I think that's actually a really great way to break into what is primarily a niche market, because there's probably a lot of people around you doing landscape photography, and there's probably a lot of people doing portraiture and glamour and delving into the side of fashion a little bit, but there probably aren't very many that are putting epic people in epic wardrobe and hair and makeup in an epic location, especially if you like doing that off-roading thing, because then you're going and you're finding places that they're not shooting at because they're remote. Does that sound pretty close to on target?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, right now, are you making money as a photographer as your primary income? Do you have a day job?
I was doing a bit of photography and video, and then moved to Bangkok and couldn't find work there, so that didn't happen. I was just doing landscapes and travel photography for fun.
Okay.
And then here in Brisbane, I've been here for about 3 weeks and just trying to make some connections and meet some people. Trying to
Okay.
get that first, and then get the photography thing running.
Okay. So we definitely are moving towards you being a full-time photographer and that being your sole source of income.
Ideal.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you, you're new to the area. Are you familiar with it? Have you been there before, or is this like just some random thing you decided to do?
My dad lives here, so.
Okay. So you're
But
familiar with it. You've been
not
there
really.
before?
I've been here before, but like I know this much area. It's like,
Okay.
broad.
So it's time for you to become our resident cohort explorer. And for the next couple of, are you working there right now? Like, what are your days like? Are you pretty flexible with your scheduling?
For now, yeah.
Okay.
Next 2 weeks, pretty busy. I've got courses to go do.
Okay. Are you going to school? What are you doing?
I'm doing a rigging and dogging course so that I can try and find a job to get some money so that I can supplement the photography thing until I can make it full time.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna I'm gonna give you a little bit of tough love right now. You are you are convinced that what you would like to do is be a full-time photographer. So you're in a new place and you are spending your time taking a course doing something that doesn't have to do with what you want to do.
Yeah,
And I'm guessing that if you're taking a course, that means you invested money in the course as well.
yeah,
So you're investing your time and money to get a skill, to get a job that is on the complete other side of what you're trying to accomplish.
and a visa. The visa is a big problem.
Uh, okay, so tell me about that.
My fiance and I are trying to get out of South Africa into Australia, and for that you need specific skill sets, which I don't have at the moment.
Okay, so this is helping you to do that. And is she's trying to do the same thing?
Yes.
Can she do it and you can hurry up and marry her and then have a visa by marriage?
Now we've got to wait a year or two for her to actually be able to do it as well.
Okay.
So
All right,
mine's the fast method.
so this is a necessity if you want to stay there then.
Yeah.
And if you were making money to support yourself as a photographer right now, would you still need to go do this in order to get your visa, or would photography be your skill? I don't actually know about this, so educate me.
Yeah, I'd still need to do something to get the visa.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm gonna allow it, but I still think that that's a tough one, and I can't really comment on it because I don't know the ins and outs of what you need to do. But that, if you want to stay there, and that's a component of you being able to stay there, that's totally different.
A bit of a tricky one.
But still, the more time and energy and money that you're putting towards something else, the less that you have for this, which means the longer the path for you to get there. Because some of it, like, you hear people and they're like, oh, I've been at photography for 10 years or 20 years, and you hear other people that say, oh, I've been in it for 2, and they're at the same place. It's because it's more of an hours thing than it is a longevity time thing. Like, this person may have 10 or 15 years since they picked up their first camera, but they may only put 5 to 10 hours a month towards it, whereas somebody else was beating on it for 40 to 60 hours a week. So it's like those math problems. Like, if train A leaves at what point does train B catch up to them, and the color purple equals 4? Like, remember those?
Yeah.
Um, so it's the same kind of thing. So, and we talked about this in one of the other critiques too. If you have to take a step away from where you want to be, then I need you to find 2 steps back towards it. Okay, so if you have flexibility with your time, or even if you don't, like, are these classes like at a set time? Or are you going during the day? Is it all day? How's that work?
It's only for 2 weeks.
Okay, how much of your day is it taking up?
Fair portion. I'll have the afternoons free.
Okay, you have the afternoons free. Great. So when you're done with the courses, on your way home, you should be going exploring and finding some of these remote, beautiful locations that you want to be able to shoot at. I want pictures in the cohort where it doesn't count pics or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Seriously though, because that's the first step, and it's very easy for you while you're networking and finding new people. Post these pictures in the cohort, but also retouch them and put them up and go, the only thing this is missing is, and then whatever that person looks like is a very handsome man with 6-pack abs in a red shirt and a hat and or red pants and a hat and no shirt, in the snow. The only thing this is missing is a gorgeous girl in an emerald green gown hanging off the edge of this cliff who wants to fill the role, and you'd be surprised what responses that you'll get from that. But put your energy towards where you want to be, at least as much as you're putting towards places that you don't want to be. Like, I totally understand like the necessity to do it, but if that isn't where you want to be and where you want to stay, and that's a temporary thing to get you the visa so that you can stay there so you can do what you want, then at least counteract that with equal energy, pulling backwards towards what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you 2 assignments because I have high hopes for you. The first one is, are you on Pinterest?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to go make me an inspiration board just like Allie's gonna, and I want at least 20 to 30 images that are, this is what I want to shoot. Epic locations, epic attire, epic models, whatever. Find the thing that sets you on fire. This is my dream portfolio. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and then the second one is that it is coming up on September. By the 15th, you have half the month. You have 2 weeks more of classes, so by the 15th, I would like to see at least 4 different locations that you want to shoot at.
All right.
Here's the thing. If you don't do it, you don't deserve it. Okay, and that's harsh, but it's true, but it's also a good thing, because if we come up on the 15th and you made excuses in that time to not go do those things, whatever they are, and they can be completely valid, like, I'm not getting to spend enough time with my fiance, and I'm really tired from taking these classes all day, and I just had all this other stuff going on and I couldn't find the time to get there. If you cannot find the time, it's because you did not make the time. If you want this bad enough, you will go do it. And if you don't go do it, then that's telling you that this isn't what you want, which is probably why it hasn't happened for you yet. So it's time to put up or shut up. How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Do you want it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm kind of over the way life is at the moment.
That's not a good enough reason, because it's better than it is now is not good. How bad do you want it? Do you want this?
Yes.
Do you want it enough to do the work that it's going to take to get there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is recorded and all of your fellow cohorts are watching, so they are all responsible now to hold you accountable to that. And on the 15th, if you don't, we're all going to give you a hard time and make you feel really bad about yourself. So peer pressure all the way and not above it.
Yeah,
Aren't you glad you have me for a master now? All right. So we're halfway through. You are now at level 5, completing your level 4 critique. So you're through your first half sphere. You have 15 levels to go while you're with me. What do you want to be accomplished by the time you hit level 20? What are you looking for?
I think conceptually I'm pretty weak, so I'd like to work on that.
Okay.
And then that's my biggest problem.
You think the art is your biggest problem? What about the business side?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely that.
Okay. All right, so we're going to work on both. It's an equal blend of art and business for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So the inspiration board is going to help with the conceptual thing because then I can see where you want to go with it, and we can take it from there. Because the idea is, you know, we put you in a group with other like-minded people, you know, that have varying levels of talent and different skill sets, and you all help each other. So if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Okay? But the idea is that once we cross the first sphere and you guys hit level 11, that you know, the beginning is the roots and the trunk, and then you guys are all going to start splitting off into your own path, and everybody's going to start moving towards what their path is and what their end goal is. So we just have to get through the first part together, which is why you have the support frame. So you doing these things and really starting to hone in on that will help me set the path and kind of give you a push in the right direction as far as the artistry. And then as far as business goes, the first thing you have to decide is what a successful business looks like for you. I want to make $10,000 a month. I want to make $2,000 a month. I just want to work 3 times a week, you know. But think of it from a financial point of view of what that looks like. Like, what would you be really, really happy with?
Yeah, I'm not sure how the economy here in Australia works at the moment, so I'm still a bit foggy on the numbers. But
Okay, fair enough.
I want to make money so that I can travel. I'd love to get paid to go travel. That's essentially what photography is about for me.
Okay, so you would like to have there be your home base and be able to travel wherever to take beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So yeah, so while you're kind of getting a feel for it, because it's a different culture, different climate, different side of the world, you know, probably when we sit down again at level 9, you'll have a much better idea because you'll have a couple months to like settle in there then.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is really good. So I would focus more on that for right now in the abstract. Like, financial success for me affords me the ability to travel wherever I want to go in the world or wherever I want to go in the country. Like, how big and broad is that? How many times a month would you like to do that? Or a year? You know, like, I would like to go travel to 12 amazing locations a year, you know, in all different countries. I would like to stay at 5-star resorts, or I'm fine at, you know, Motel 6 kind of places. Like, you know.
Stick a tent on my back and I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, like if you really like going to the remote locations that nobody else has been and you're an outdoorsy person, then that's a totally different thing than somebody that wants to be, you know, at the Ritz-Carlton because their idea of roughing it is not brushing their teeth in the morning. Like both are fine, but it's a totally different model and a totally different setup with that. So yes, I'm trying to help you get to your dream career, but what I'm really trying to do is help you build the career that allows you to spend the time you want and support your dream life. So don't just think about it in terms of photography. Think about it with where you want your life to be and what you want that to look like. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
And keep me posted.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Questions, comments, concerns?
No, I was just gonna, like, one of the comments about the business side was marketing. Like,
Okay.
I'm very, very bad at, like, develop deep hatred for it.
You literally just wrung your hands. I didn't know people literally did that when they're frustrated. So I'm feeling your concern.
Yeah.
So again, until you figure out exactly what it is that you're doing, it's very, very difficult to market it.
Yeah, okay.
So you can't focus on what's my marketing plan going to be until we know what the product and the service is. So the first step of your marketing plan is actually going to be you going and creating this board and you going and looking for locations that sort of echo some of those images and getting a better feel for what it is that we're moving you towards. Because if you don't know that product, I can't sell it. You know, right now you're going, so I have this amazing idea. Well, what is it? Well, it's kind of it's like a beverage. Okay, well, what kind of beverage? It's like one of the ones that you drink, like when you're thirsty. And I need you to sell that for me. That's about where we're at. So I need you to just tone it in a little more and kind of work on that. That's going to be the next couple of levels. And then when we get to level 9 critiques, we're going to start working on the level 9 critiques, and the images that you submit should be what it is you're marketing. Then we have a product, and then the upper spheres can start building your business and your marketing campaigns around that product.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Go do your homework.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you at level 9. Well done.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.